Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I make these birria tacos. These are beef and cheese tacos in a chili broth. Okay, so I've started off with boiling 4 cups of water. Okay, so I've put the boiling water into my slow cooker and I've gone ahead and set it on high, and I'm going to let this stay warm like that for a few minutes while I prepare my meat. Okay, so here's my meat, and I have a 2 pound, just a little over 2 pounds of a shoulder beef roast. You can use a chuck roast instead. I've gone ahead and rinsed it, but now I'm going to cut it into big pieces, like some big chunks, and then I'll rinse them off one more time. Okay, so here are my pieces. My chunks are already cut up. Here you can see about the size. You know, they're big chunks, they're not little ones. They can be bigger than this. They can be twice the size if you want. I just want them to cook a little bit faster. I don't have 6 to 8 hours to put these in the slow cooker. So now let's go get a pan ready. Alright, so here I have my hot pan and I've already tested it and it's ready to go. I have just a little over a tablespoon of avocado oil. You can use olive oil or your vegetable oil, whichever oil or fat you prefer to use. And here I've got the chunks of meat, which I have salted and peppered, turned them around and salted and peppered the other side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them in the pan and I'm going to sear them. They're not going to cook. They're just going to sear, brown a little bit. Let me go ahead and put the rest of them in there. Okay, so now I'm going to turn them around. As you can see, just a little bit of browning. That's all you want. Okay, so to this same pan, I'm going to drop in the onion. I'm also going to drop in about 3 garlic cloves. These are pretty big cloves. Drop them in the oil. And I've also got a jalapeno that I've just cut in half here. If you want to remove the veins and the seeds from inside, you can do so. I want mine spicy, so I'll just leave it in there, and I'm just going to roast it just a little bit in the same oil. And this meat is about ready. It's just going to take a minute or two, and we're going to transfer all of this to our crock pot. Okay, so here's how the meat looks, and I'm going to go ahead and start transferring this to our slow cooker right in the water. So let me go ahead and put all the meat from here in there, and then I'm just going to saute this just a little bit longer. Let this jalapeno get a little bit more soft, and then I'm going to dump all that, with the juices and everything into the crock pot. Okay, so I went ahead and I added 1 carrot into the mix here with the onions and the jalapeno and garlic, and I just saute them a tiny little bit. I've already turned off the heat. I'm going to go ahead and transfer this to our crock pot. Alright everyone, so now we want to add some seasonings to our crock pot, and in this cup I have 2 tablespoons of this flavored or beef flavored bouillon, and I have 1 tablespoon of chicken flavored bouillon. I also have a teaspoon of salt, about a teaspoon of salt, about a teaspoon of pepper, and that is some dry oregano. And then I've got here, you can use 2 or 3 bay leaves. I don't have a lot of meat, so this is what I'm going to put in it for now. I will taste it as it cooks along, maybe in the 3-hour mark. But we're going to add these seasonings, and I have a couple more, another seasoning and another herb that I want to add in. So let's put these in the crock pot for now. Okay, so there's all our little seasonings and some bay leaves. I'm also going to add a sprinkle of cinnamon. It's just like a pinch of cinnamon. And then I've also got some dried thyme here. I'm going to add a little bit of that as well. There we go. So I'm just going to mix all that in, but I'm going to make sure that the meat is well covered. Okay, we want to make sure that the meat is in the water. Okay, so I'm going to cover this. I'm going to put a timer for 4 hours, but we're going to be back in just a moment, okay? There we go. Alright, so now these are my dried chiles, and I need to prepare them for the consommé, or the sauce that is going to go, that is going to create a birria. So right here I have a chile guajillo, or it's also known as cascabel, and what I've done is I've taken off the stems, and then you pop them open. You can use your finger to pop them open and get all the little seeds out of there. And as you can see, there's still some little seeds in this one and some veins that are stuck in there. You can reach in and grab those, or you can just cut them in half, pop them open, and take those out. This one here is a chile ancho. Basically, this is a dried poblano. So that also has some little seeds that will come out, and then I'm also going to reach in there and grab those little veins that are in there. Over here I have a pasilla chile. I'm doing the same, taking off the stems and then shaking them off for the little seeds. Now, optional is some extra heat. These are chile de arbol, and I've got 3 of them. These are pretty hot, so you want to just, you know, take it easy on those. If you don't like any heat, completely leave that out. Here I have a chipotle pepper. It's a dry chipotle. It is a jalapeno. So you saw that I put in a fresh jalapeno. So you can trade off the jalapeno for this chipotle flavor instead, for the little smokiness, or you can just leave the fresh one in there, or do both, which is what I'm going to do. I've also got here 2 cloves right here. So I'm going to take all of this and saute them a bit in a pan. And if you don't want to saute them, you could opt for boiling some water, throwing them into the water and just covering it up and let them get softened in the water, and you'll see that the water also gets a color. But I'm going to go ahead and saute them. So let me go ahead and finish cleaning these up, and by that I mean removing the little seeds and the little veins. And I'm also going to cut up a couple of aroma tomatoes that you don't see here, but you'll see them in a little bit. Okay, so I have the same hot pan. I didn't even clean it off. I used a piece of meat to kind of roll around in the pan to pick up any of leftover oil and flavors that were in there. And then I put that in the crock pot. So just a little cube of meat. Just rub it around with your little tongs. Okay, so anyway, we have this hot pan going, and we're going to put the peppers and some tomato in here. Okay, here you can see that I opened up one of the peppers so I can remove the vein that was inside. It was easier to remove the vein if I opened it up and the rest of the seeds, and I recommend that you do that if you don't want the heat. Now, these peppers don't have a lot of heat. They basically just have a lot of flavor, but the veins and the seed will have a tiny bit of heat. So if you just cannot take that, go ahead and pop them open, which I did to all of them, these here as well, and I took out all the seeds. So basically my only heat is these little peppers, my chipotle. And here you can see I added some tomato. So I'm just going to move these around, basically saute things. I don't want to burn them. I just want to get them a little brown, a little black, if you will. And that will bring out a lot of the flavor, bring out the oils and all these dry peppers as well. And then I will put these in the blender. Okay, you guys, I've been doing this in sort of a medium to, or low to medium heat. This all looks, in the camera here, this all looks burned because the chili peppers are kind of hot. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the arbol chiles, and I've gone ahead and I also removed the cloves. I just wanted the cloves to be in there long enough for the oils to sort of come out. So I'm going to go ahead and now start taking these peppers out. They look pretty darn good, and I'm choking. Okay, so now I just have the tomatoes that I left on here a little bit longer, and I've gone ahead and I've turned off the heat. But this is what the tomatoes look like. Let me do this side a little bit more with the leftover heat. I'm going to take these out. And what's left here in the pan is a little bit of, you know, a little bit of the flavors and the oil. So I'm going to use about a cup. This is just some hot tap water that I put in this cup, and I'm putting it in there so that I can get, you know, the oils and all the flavors that are in there. And I'm actually going to put that into the blender with the chiles. So the next shot will be all the items placed into the blender. I'm going to let this cool off just a little bit. Okay, so I've got all the chiles and the water and the tomatoes already in my blender. So now I'm going to add these little chiles de arbol and the cloves in there, and then put the lid and to blend it to liquefy. So I want to add all this in there. Let me get this little flavor in there also, and drop those in there. So let's blend this up. Okay, so here's our chile. It's like a paste now. It's pretty thick in there. You could add a little bit more water. You could just take some water from in here and add it in there to water it down a little bit, just to make sure that when you pour it out, all of it comes out. So that's what I'm going to do. And what you could do is you could put a strainer over your crock pot or your slow cooker and pour that over, and strain this if you want, or you just pour it right in, which is basically what I'm going to do. So let me go ahead and get some of this water in there, and then we'll pour it in. Okay, I actually took out some of the, you know, like half of this, you know, onion. And I actually put it into the blender pot and blended it a little bit more. So here we go. Let's pour all that in there. There we go. And if you're like me, you want to get every little bit of it. You get a little bit of water and you shug it around in there and get that little tiny bit left. Okay, but this is good. So now we're going to put our lid. Let me stir it around just a little bit. And then again, make sure that all the meat is immersed in the water. And we're going to cover it up. Like I said, we're going to leave it alone now. It's on high. And the timer is for 4 hours. So we're going to check on it at 3 hours. And if it needs any flavor, we'll go ahead and add some flavor to that. Okay, so it's been 2 hours. And this is what the birria is looking like. You can see it looks really thick and dark. This consomme, the sauce in here. And here's the beef. It's not quite soft enough the way that I wanted to shred it up, but it is fully cooked. And then you can see how the kind of like the fat goes up in the top. I'm going to end up skimming that off later. I've already added another cup of water, but let me go ahead and show you. I'm adding two more. So it's one that I added and one more. So altogether that's 2 cups. So this initially started off with 4 cups, and now I have 6 cups in here. And the reason that I added it is because, you know, this consomme looks really thick. So I just added this in there. So I'm going to continue letting it, you know, in the slow cooker. And like I said, I was going to check it at the 3 hour mark. So I'll come back at after 3 hours and we'll see what's going on. That's just showing you that 2 hours are still left on there. Okay, so it has been 4 hours and I've taken the meat out of the slow cooker. By the way, I also took out the bay leaves, so we can throw them away. And then we just want to shred up the beef. You can use a couple of forks and break it up, or you can use these tongs the way that I'm doing it. As you can see, it all just comes apart very easily. Or you can get a knife and you can chop it up, you know, finely if you want. Okay, so I've also prepared some extra chopped onion here, some cilantro, and some oaxaca cheese, or you could just use mozzarella cheese. This is a Mexican melty cheese similar to mozzarella. And then I've got some corn tortillas that we're going to use for the tacos. So let me go ahead and finish shredding up all this beef, and then we'll get to where we are going to build the tacos so we can fry them up. Okay, to a hot pan I'm going to add a little bit of oil, and then I've skimmed some of the broth, the birria broth, the fat that was in the top. And I'm just going to drop a little bit of this in here, like that. And then we can start dropping our tortillas. Let me turn the heat down here. And all we're going to do is just roll them around, flip them. You can fold them in half and just have a little plate ready. And then we'll add some more of the consomme oil if we need. Okay, so now that I've had the second one, you can be putting these on a plate if you want. So I'm just going to fold this one. Just stacking them up on the side here. And now I need a little bit more oil. And I'm just going to keep doing this. Just a tiny little bit. And then a little bit more of the consomme, the broth. So let me get 4 of these ready, and then we'll build the taco. Okay, so I've opened up 2 of my tortillas, and I'm going to make a taco by adding a little bit of the beef on each one. And then you want to add some cheese. And completely optional, you can add some chopped onion to that. And I also like to add a little bit of cilantro. Okay, so now I can go ahead and close my taco. So we want to make sure we put the meat on half. And just want to let these fry up. And if you like, you can go ahead and take your other tortillas and, you know, set it on the side, like I said, on a little plate. And if you want to go ahead and build your tacos there and then put them back in the pan, you can do it that way. And then just let them fry up. So So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish up these other two and then make another 4 tortillas, just like I did all these, and then add the ingredients inside and fry them up. I want that cheese to get all nice and melty, and hopefully the tortillas get a little bit crispy. Okay, so I've ladled some of the consommé or the broth into a nice bowl here, and I'm going to take a handful of the shredded beef and drop it right in there. And then we can top it off with some chopped onions, a little bit of cilantro to make it look pretty. And here I've got 4 tacos served up on the side. And that looks absolutely delicious, so it is time now to taste. Alright everyone, so here are my birria tacos, and let me open this one up just so you can see what it looks like inside with the cheese melted, the beef, the onions, and the cilantro in there. And our delicious looking broth. So now we can take a spoon and have some of that with the meat inside of it. We could also enjoy it by dipping our taco right in there, picking up that broth and giving that a bite. That is absolutely delicious. The tacos are delicious by themselves. The broth is delicious also, but together it is super, super delicious, and it is magically tasteful. I don't know how else to describe it, you guys. It is really good. If you make these nice and crispy, when you dip them in there, you can hear that little crunch right when you bite into them. It also, you know, softens them up a little bit being in the broth. It is super delicious, and I hope that you liked my recipe for birria tacos. And so I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up and that you enjoyed this recipe. Please leave a nice comment down below. Thank you to everyone who has been subscribing. And if you haven't, please hit that red subscription button and then the notification bell so that you're notified of when I put up videos, which are twice a week. Thank y'all very much again. Share on your social medias. Be kind, be respectful, spread the love, and as always, enjoy.